Good Sunday morning, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson. Let's go in and talk about the weather for your Sunday. Starting off, what is going on right now throughout the entire state of South Carolina? Well, it looks nice and dry right now throughout the state. But if we scroll our way out, see what's going on throughout the entire U.S., we do have some rainfall going into North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, even over here in the west, California, Nevada, Arizona, and Texas getting in on some flooding as well. We also have some storm activity in Florida with maybe even some heavy rainfall going on over inside of Alabama. Now, as we look at our cloud cover, looks like that we are inside of a cloudy, like a cloudy state up there in the upstate, maybe the Piedmont areas more specifically. But look at everybody else from the Low Country, Grant and Strand, to the PD, the Midlands, even, especially the Southern Midlands, looking pretty clear right now. Not seeing any cloud cover right now. Now, for our cloud cover for the future, obviously that's going to be a bit of a different story because as we go on and push this forward into this afternoon here, you can still see not too much, but watch as you get into around 4 or 5, 6 o'clock p.m. Look at all that cloud cover in the upstate. Look at the cloud cover Midlands, Low Country getting on cloud cover as we move later on into this evening, going into tonight. And then watch as we get to 12 o'clock in the morning. Here we go. Cloud cover now covering almost all of the upstate, almost all the Midlands, almost all the PD, and the Low Country areas as well. Now, in terms of current temperatures right now, we're talking about 85 in Somerville, 86 in Charleston, even 84 in Beaufort, 85 Georgetown, 84 in Myrtle Beach, 85 in Conway, and 83 in Florence, 80 Lugoff, and 78 in Newberry, 80 Greenville, 81 in Spartanburg, 82 inside of Gaffney. And now, in terms of our air quality for tonight, or for today, excuse me, it looks like that the majority of us is going to be inside the good category, but a good amount of us will be inside that moderate category, the low country areas like the Tri County, even the Western PD and Grand Strand, and over in the Colleton County will be inside of that yellow moderate area. Just to the north and east of Florence, and even Florence itself, will be in the moderate, and then just to the west of Columbia, in Lexington area, will be around will be in that moderate category. So if you are inside of these yellow areas, just make sure that you are continuing to watch for that air quality today if you're outside for a long period of time. Now, in terms of our high temperatures for today, 93 Greenville, Spartanburg, 95 Columbia, 96 in Orangeburg, and 95 in Moncks Corner, 95 Georgetown, 92 in Charleston, 91 Hilton Head Island, and 93 in Myrtle Beach. Heat index values for today going to be up there. Not as I don't think it's going to be as hot as we were expecting them to be last night, though, because this is definitely a decrease from what we were seeing as we go into today. So, a bit of a decrease in terms of those heat index values as we go into today compared to yesterday, with 105 in Charleston, Myrtle Beach, 107 in Cheraw, 103 Hilton Head Island and Aiken. Winds for today are going to be, around the same 5 to 10 miles per hour inland, but the coastal areas could be from around 10 to 20. And then look at wind gust. Wind gust could potentially be from around 10 to 15 in the upstate areas. And then as you look more into the Midlands, seeing around 20, 15 to 20. Low country areas go into the Grand Strand, 20 to 25. So it's going to be a bit breezy actually for the coastal areas for today. Rainfall definitely is possible. I mean, we're talking about a hundredth of an inch to a half an inch in terms of expected precipitation over the next 24 hours. You see Greenville, hundredth of an inch to a tenth of an inch, Newberry, Winsboro, Camden, Florence, Myrtle Beach. Maybe even a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch for Anderson, quarter of an inch to half an inch for Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Cheraw, and then even Dillon as well. All at around a quarter of an inch to a half an inch. Now, as we go on and take a look at the SPC outlook for today, we do have a risk of severe weather to the upstate, the Midlands, the PD areas, in that slight risk of severe weather for today. So, what is the risk here? Damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour, scattered damaging wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour is possible. And if you're in the dark green, you have a 5% risk of damaging winds, meaning that isolated damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour is possible. If you're in the light green, no risk of severe weather, but you still could see some strong storms with some strong winds, some small hail. All of that is possible as you go into today. Excessive rainfall, isolated flash flooding is possible up there inside the upstate, Greenville, Gaffney, Anderson, Greenwood. I mean, all these areas are included inside of that 5% risk of excessive rainfall for today. Now for the crazy score, currently we're at an 8 right now. Currently it's, pretty good. It's pretty good right now, but we do have some beach hazard statements that are in effect, so that kind of pushes up the score a little bit for Georgetown County and then also coastal Horry County. So let's go now and take a look at the models. Time is at the bottom part of your screen. Please make sure that you want to pay attention to that, as that is really, really important to go on and pay attention to. We start off here, and just as we go on and move to around 9 a.m., moving its way over to 10 a.m., just pushing your way forward. I mean, even by 2 p.m., you're not really seeing a whole lot. You get to around 4 p.m., showers and storms, start to kind of make their way into the upstate a little bit. And then as you get to around 6 to 7 p.m., all the way to 8 p.m., showers and storms, again, stretching all the way from one side of the upstate to the other side. And then as you move to around 11 p.m. all the way to 12 o'clock in the morning, showers and storms still going on. But we're going to push it forward even more and see that after we get to around 1, 2 a.m. or so, things kind of calm down. And it's kind of just out of our hair. So again, look at all these showers and storms that try to get going. Again, these storms will have wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour potentially, and then also flash flooding with it as well in some of these storms, or just some flooding in general. But that's all I have to say here in terms of the models. Let's go and take a look at the NHC, National Hurricane Center. We now have a code red. In fact, it's a pretty big code red. This has an 80% chance to form. That is, a huge upgrade. Yesterday was a 40-50. Now it's an 80-80. So it increased 40% on the 2-day time frame, and then it increased around 30% on the 7-day time frame there. So yeah, this is still Invest 91L, and it is now likely, almost expected now, pretty much at this point, to form over inside of the Gulf. So this is what it currently looks like right now. The discussion for it does currently read, an area of low pressure located over the northeastern Gulf continues to become better defined, and associated shower and thunderstorm activity is gradually increasing. Continued gradual development is expected, and a tropical depression is likely to form later today. As early as later today or on Monday, as the system moves slowly north or northwest. Interests along the northern Gulf Coast from Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana should monitor the progress of the system, as a tropical storm watches or warnings could be required for portions of the area later today. In addition, the system is expected to bring heavy rain to portions of the northern Gulf Coast during the next several days. And then there will be an Air Force Reserve reconnaissance aircraft that is going to go on and investigate the system later on today. So we'll see what they have to say. But 80% chance to form. This thing completely blew up. And if we want to take a look at the models real quick, the hurricane models have completely shifted, further towards the west. Almost all of them are saying this is going to move over to the west. This is definitely different from what we compared it to yesterday, though, to where a couple of them was going towards the east. The GEFS still says the west. You have a couple, that says east, but most of them says west. And then the European, most of them say west. But notice with the European, the more west that it goes, the more that it stays over that water, and the more that it's going to strengthen. You have a couple of good hurricanes, according to the European. I think the European is set on a hurricane maybe trying to happen with this thing at all. So, and then in terms of intensity, the actual hurricane models don't really say too much except for just a tropical storm. So we'll see. The European verifies. The GEFS says that not much is going to happen. If we do get a tropical storm, it's going to be very weak. And the hurricane model saying we could have a strong tropical storm to maybe even barely anything at all. So intensity is still something that we're trying to figure out. And intensity is still not really completely set in stone yet. But the track, I think it's going to be west. I think that South Carolina, I don't think we have much to really worry about here in terms of any direct impacts from this thing. But, things can always change, things can always shift, and we keep an eye out anyway. But that's all I have to say here in terms of the models for the hurricane, not for the hurricane, but for the area of interest, Invest 91L, inside of the Gulf. Remember, the next name is Bertha. So Bertha is the next name. So we will be probably, most likely, seeing that name later today or tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. I'll be back tonight, 9 o'clock p.m. for your Sunday evening forecast update. Also tomorrow morning for your Monday morning forecast update. Remember, tonight it is the week forecast for the week of Sunday, July the 19th, going into Saturday, July the 25th, the last full week of July. Also, make sure that you go on and remember that going into tomorrow, for tomorrow evening's forecast update, it will be at 8 o'clock p.m., not 9 o'clock p.m., 8 o'clock p.m. But that's all I have to say here. Hit those two buttons before you leave if you're new.